Welcome to Pool by Design Day 2, brought to you by Diego and Potencia Ventures. So thank you very much, Potencia, for making this thing possible. Now, today we are going to talk about customer instances. This is something that we discussed the other day. So let's do a quick recap on what is that. Remember, there is this situation where we inform prospects, users, that we exist. They ignore us, so we have to do all these things just to get one or two of them. On the other hand, we have the situation where we inform them that we exist and that person is willing to wait 3 hours for us. Now, why this thing happens? It's all about segmentation. Customer instances is a specific way to segment users, different than the one that we use right now. Right now, we know if we are whereby a video call solution, we will think everyone that can do a video call can be our user. I'm going to be optimistic here, and we just pick one segment, even if we like to go for them all. But even for that segment, we believe everyone here is equal. But what we saw, these are the customer instances, is that some people will not switch, some will switch, but not to us, instead to the default solution, that well-known solution, and very few will switch to us, which effectively makes this, where we have some people that are pulling the product. It's great, it's exactly what they need, and we will see more details on why us, and a lot of people that don't care, so we have to push. Now, it shouldn't be a surprise that our conversion rate when we are running ads on this whole segment is just 5%. Of course, like most of the people don't care about you. And this is the marketing cost of targeting the wrong customer instance. So today, we are going to talk about also the product cost of choosing the wrong customer instance, why some instances are not ready for us yet, and then the benefits in marketing and product of choosing the right one. So let's start with the perils of choosing the wrong customer instance. We're going to stay with the same example. So we are whereby in the early days, and we are looking at Zoom. It's like, okay, we know that Zoom is bad because you need to download this thing and it's super messy because they have these really long links that like can get lost and broken, and it's not like, good to look at. So let's build something that has no download. Just click on the link, on a really short and beautiful link, straight to the browser. It just works, and it looks great, pastel everywhere, right? Boom. Here we have our 10x product. And we will get out once we build it and talk with a prospect customer. And they will say, oh, great, really nice, beautiful, love it. It's like, okay, you are liking it a lot, right? So you're going to switch? You come in? Do we sign something? Yeah, the thing is, everyone knows how to use Zoom now in the team. So yeah, I know that it's not easy to use, but now they learned. Also, we have all these meetings, recurring meetings in the future, meeting with providers. Changing all of that is going to be a mess. Some people using one, the other, and all the videos stored there. And you are like, oh, we are whereby, right? It's like, hold my beer. Needs to learn. Okay, we are going to create some training videos. They have a lot of meetings. Don't worry. We are going to create like an auto migration. We migrate all the calendars. We change the links automatically. Easy. Videos, same. We will record and migrate all the recordings. And we will get back to the customer after we put all this work on improving this. And they are like, oof, yeah, like, this is truly great. And we ask them, okay, We did it, right? Now, no more objections. It's perfect. And they will say, yeah, let me talk with the team and we get back to you. All that work. Sometimes we get a yes. Now, the question here is, this process is okay. You look at the blockers and you solve that. Much better than you ignore the blockers and you just push. Yeah, let's send them more emails. Let's send them more badges. So this process is good. But for whom do we solve the blockers? Because if we are solving blockers that end up in, let me talk with the team, and which means no, but yeah, let me delay the decision, then what? So 3 learnings here. First, don't confuse cool with switch. The fact that it looks great doesn't mean that they're gonna switch. Don't fall into the trap of, I heard that we are missing this, or our competitor has that and we don't. Build that, and because we have that now, our product is better, is more complete, delivers more value, now they're gonna switch. That is not true, and this is what we're gonna see today. And the third thing, we spend a lot of time listening to everyone and prioritizing blockers. Let's do like this impact, confidence, effort. Yeah, impact, confidence, and effort on something that is not gonna have any impact because these people are not gonna switch to you. Instead, we have to prioritize some type of customers. So let's see who and why they are ready or they are not ready for us. Let's start with, okay, the okay customer instance. So we talk with somebody, a prospect customer, today, the situation today. And he's like, so what are you using? It's like, we are using Zoom. It's like, okay. What do you use it for? This is the task. We get products to do a task that we can't do without the product. So what are you trying to do? It's like, yeah, team communication. Sure. Tell me more about you. We are looking for context, things that affect how you do this task. Like, yeah, we are a tech startup in the US. We have 15 employees. Some of them are fully remote. And we raise money. So we have money to afford this thing. We have a ton of people that need to communicate with others. So Zoom makes sense. Like, okay, great, right? Because we built our product against Zoom. Like, we define all these things. So it's like, let me pitch this to you because we have your solution. And what we believe they will think is, wow, this is incredible. What really goes through their heads is, it's good. It's truly good. But, I must train all the people and this migration, even if now you build these features, I don't know, what if the whole thing is a mess and the links break and we lose meetings? What if the migration and everything works, but people don't like it and get confused and they want to roll it back and some people end up using one and not the other? And what if they just see destruction, death, fear everywhere? So this is too big. It's like, yeah, it's good. Let me get back to you. And they will never get back to us. So this is how we are mapping a customer instance. And an important part is the inability. And we will see a lot about that. Are they unable to do something? And the fact is, no, they can do the whole thing. So if there is no inability, they're an okay CI. Now, why does that matter, the no inability? Because when there is no inability, you can do everything. I'm not unable to do anything. So you show me this, it's like, that's great, but I don't really need it. This is a nice to have. Now we will see how this nice to have and must have is relative, right? In this case, nothing. So let's go to the next one, switching. We have a prospect customer, and now we are adding time into the equation. We are asking them about the past, trying to understand the journey. What were you using? Google Chat. Okay. What were you using it for? Yeah, we had meetings with external providers, so not in communication. It was different. Okay, tell me why. What is your context? Like, yeah, we are really a small startup, 4 employees. Everyone works in the same office. We don't have a lot of money yet. So yeah, yeah, we collaborate, we have some meetings. That's pretty much it. It's like, okay. But so no inability, and they are okay. In the past, they were okay. It's like, but now you told me that you are switching, right? That you are not happy with Google Chat. What's going on? We are trying to understand why it worked and now it doesn't. So today, they are unhappy. Like, what changed? It's like, yeah, we raised money. It's like, oh, congratulations. So we also hired a ton of people. And we are hiring a lot of people really quick. So not everyone lives in the city or even near to the office. So we have people that are fully remote. That is the fastest way to grow. It's like, that makes sense. So now they have the meetings with external providers, but also another task that is team communication. But Google Chat is not working. It's like, wait a second. I don't understand it, because you can do these two things with Google Chat, right? Like, why is that not working for you? So there is the hidden part of this context change. These are the constraints that the context change creates, and also the boosters. Sometimes when things change, make doing the task more difficult or easier. So now they have 3 teams with 5 people each, and they need 2 things. One-on-one video calls with the fully remote. Yeah, but they can do that with Google Chat. They also need to record some team meetings to share with other teams. Yeah, that Google Chat is so, but you can still use it. Like, but why are you switching? And there's a way to set this thing up. Like, oh yeah, like the thing is, now we raise money. Now we are a proper like a startup, and we have to look the part. We have to look great. And every time that we had a meeting with a VC, they were using Zoom. So we look like the underdog here, like using Google Chat. We want to look like other startups, like professional. It's like, oh, and Google Chat can't achieve that. Also, so these were constraints. Now we have money. So this is a screaming change, right? Now, when I'm saying about it doesn't work, what you have to understand is this means they can't complete the task the way they want. They want it with all these things plus professional. And they can't because of the new context. So that's what this theme means. And we summarize that into the inability. So unable to keep teams aligned because they need recording and look professional to stakeholders, any external entity. In that case, Google Chat doesn't work. So it's like, okay, but this would be a better case, right? Like, Google Chat is not working. We have this thing. We believe that they're going to love it because it looks more pro than Google Chat, that's for sure. But what is what they really think? Yeah, it's cool, but it could work. I can see that working is better than Google Chat in our situation, but I never heard about it. And the thing is, that creates doubts. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe why I never heard about it. And also, like, we really want to look pro. And you know what? We have the money to look pro. So let's see what people with money that are proper startups use. And that is Zoom. So is a default that solves their inability? Yes. So they are here. They want to switch. This is not working. But the next step is not you. It's somebody else. And this is a switching CI. Now, remember, we hate switching so much that usually when we have a new task, we always try to use things that we already have, solutions that we have, even if they are not designed for that. Think about Excel. We have something new to do and we try to use Excel to see if that solves that, or Google Spreadsheets, before even looking into more specific solutions. So, the inability can't complete the task the way they want under the context with the current solution. So, with this solution, now this change, and I can't complete the task the way I want. And if there is an inability, they will switch. That's pretty much for sure. But to whom? To the default first. Unless something happens, and in this case it works, that's it. Let's try again. New to the market. Talking about the past. Similar situation like the one before, small startup, everyone in the same office, but they don't even have like the external meetings with providers. It's like the providers are few and they're nearby, and they go and talk with them in person. Which sounds crazy, right? Like, who does that? Yeah, everyone like 10 years ago. All of us did that. We didn't do Zoom calls for everything. So they kept doing that because they could. So no inability, nothing to switch to. The thing here is they're not even in our market. They're not in the video calls market. I need this type of solution, or they're outside that. And this is why they are new. But we know that they are switching. They told us, like, yeah, this is not working. We are looking for something. Like, okay, what changed? We raise money, hired employees, fully remote, like same situation as before. Like, okay, that's really interesting. So, of course, this is not working because now you have fully remote users. Now you are unable to keep the teams aligned and look pro to stakeholders. And Zoom will work. But it's like, Diego, like this is like the other one. Why are we looking at this case? Like, how is this thing different? And I chose an example that ends up also switching to Zoom, so you can see something. Because it's what is hard to see, what is almost invisible, what matters. Remember the constraints and the boosters? When they were not using any solution, they were not using Google Chat, they are not used to use video call solutions of any kind, then they don't have any experience. The product that they need has to be different. For new, usually it has to be way more simple, with less things, much easier to learn and to start using. Because, yeah, they if you put them like 100 buttons, they can't handle that. But the other ones, the switching that we're using Google Chat, yeah, they know all the categories and all the things. It's going to be much easier for them to start using it. And that's why it matters. But why did they switch to Zoom if they are new and in theory they are different? Because in this example, they need to look pro. So even if Zoom is not the easiest tool to learn, they are kind of forced to. It's like, yeah, everyone is using that. We have also to do that. Remember, we are always thinking about removing friction, making it easier. And then you have this group of people that force themselves to go through the pain of using Zoom just because they want to look pro. So default will win even with a worse product. Ours is better. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We don't have that. And nobody knows us yet. So no, we like, it's not only that it looks slick. It's like pro is also built based on who I saw the other pros using it. And no other pros are using us, so we are not pro. Now, about the task when they are new, there are two possibilities. Like this one, they have the task, so having meetings, but the solution is kind of in a different product category, not in our market. Or there are some cases where they don't even have the task. It's like, yeah, I just create a company and it's the first time that I have to talk with somebody, like from 0 to 1. And this is from 1 to 1.5. So this is not working. We have the OK that is not switching, the switching that is switching but not to us, and the new that is switching but also not to us. And we have here us, sad, concerned. How do we solve that? The previous day we talked about an example that is like the hybrid meetings. Let me try a different one. The Despate CI. Let's see. Remember, we have to look at the journey, the past and the present. So yesterday, we are talking with somebody that is a therapist and is providing therapy in a private practice. And she has like kind of old patients, not tech savvy. All the sessions are in person because that is defined pretty much by law. Like the organizations that regulate this decided no, therapy is in person because there has to be like this human connection. It's really important to be there for them. So what did she do? Like, yeah, workspaces also have like therapy rooms. You can hire one by the hour and then you just find your own clients and you go there. Sure. No inability, not in our market. That person was happy. But not now. What changed? Some things remain the same. Keep providing therapy, single therapies, private practice, like none of that changed. What changed, we're talking today, so not during COVID, after COVID. COVID changed something. Now the law, these organizations accept online. And they realize, okay, I mean, it's not like in person, but for some people, like it can be really beneficial. And you can say, yeah, but that is an extreme case. This is a market trend, something that changed, a custom change. That's the kind of things that we also have to look for, because it's these kind of things that create opportunities. Some of them are progressive. COVID changed like 100 of these things the very same day. So yes, it's extreme, but it's not unusual. It happens all the time. Remember with the meetings, like we used to do all the meetings in person and now we are not. Also impacted by COVID, but Zoom was already there before. So still okay because it's like if they can be online, but I'm good. But in her case, also she's not getting clients and the new ones want online. Now that they learn that this is possible, they want online. So the therapy room is obviously not working because if she's unable to grow revenue with in-person sessions, if she wants to grow, she needs to move online too. But Zoom doesn't work. It's like, why? Like Zoom should work. So let's see why. Like we talk with her and it's like, we have this. It's like, this is perfect. Like, but why this is perfect? Remember, we have all patients, but that doesn't mean that they are like, they don't know how to use a phone or a laptop. Like grandmas use WhatsApp and video calls to talk with her nieces. So it's more like, yes, they could download it, but then what if, where is the camera? The sound is not working. Let me change the settings of the sound. Nah, that you are asking too much. It has to just work. So we have these old people that not super tech savvy, but at the same time, it's like, look, I prefer not to leave home. And they are in this situation like they need therapy. So it's like, I need something that is like super easy to use and in a calm environment. So it's perfect. And Zoom it is not. So now we have something. But even in this case, when the therapist is thinking this is perfect, but I never heard about you, but I have no alternative. And now is when they have no alternative that even if they never heard about you, even if this is something new and proven, they will try. At least they will try. So finally we will be here. And whereby did their homework and found this case, which wasn't in their page a long time ago. So good job again, because they were able to spot this really interesting situation. So if there is an inability and no default solution solves it, then you have a desperate CI. Okay, so it's the combination of these two creates this one. But now, if your product features solve the inability that they have, they feel like a must-have. These three things that before, for somebody using Zoom, it was like, yeah, whatever, like, sure, more beautiful, no downloads, I don't really care. For this person, for the therapist, this is perfect. It's like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Without the pastel everywhere, maybe it would not work for me. I need something calm and relaxed for my patients. I need like a safe and quiet environment. So something that looked completely like a nice to have, whereby I was able to find out that case where it's critical, it's a must have. So stop thinking in terms of something is in absolute terms a nice to have or a must have, because it never is, it always depends. Now, let me double down on this to make it clear. When I'm saying no default solution solves it, what I mean is that she will try Zoom first. It's like, no, too complicated, too ugly. She will try Google Chat. It's like, more complicated. Microsoft Teams is like, that is a nightmare because it's designed for team collaboration, so it's even more complicated. WhatsApp is easy. They know how to use it, but I can't record, and therapists have to record sessions because they have to send that to the supervisor so they can get also the coaching and the training, and they always keep like improving, and that is the way they do it. And to write papers, they need these recordings. Of course, they ask for permission, so they also need all the process for that. So it also doesn't work. But she's trying everything. All the ones that are reputed, that you know they are going to work. So there are usually several default solutions out there with different flavors. And she will consider them all. And when nothing works is when it's like, okay, whatever, let's try this new thing. It looks great on paper. I can't use anything else. Now default doesn't win. Now you win. But remember, you are the last one on the list. So you win when there is nothing else. And you can say, yeah, that's insane. Like, that, I don't believe that. It's like, okay, look, it's easy to validate this. Go and talk with your customers, pick one that is happy, and ask them, how many things did they try before they got to you? In fact, I was showing these slides to somebody that followed this process to find this desperate CI. And what he told me is like, what blew my mind, him talking, was when we were talking with customers and they say, yeah, we tried this and this and this, and nothing seemed to work. And even now that I'm talking with you, so the customer talking with my friend, that person still had like a tab open for one of the other defaults because she was still not sure. And that happened over and over again. They started talking with other customers and they saw how they came after nothing else worked. And that changed their mind. You don't have to take my word on it. Do it yourself, so it will change your mind too. Good. So, quick recap. We had all of our instances and now desperate that could switch to us. Let me simplify a little bit. Remember, today, using Zoom, and Zoom works. We design the solution thinking we are designing something that solves Zoom problems. So they should switch to us. And as we saw, they don't. They stay on Zoom. Too risky. I don't need that. Nice to have. Switching. I'm using Google Chat. Google Chat today is not working for me, so I need something. Like, and if what we have is better than Zoom, is of course better than Google Chat. They switch to Zoom. We also have people that don't even have a similar solution. They come from somewhere else. It's like, okay, look, Like the delta value here is massive. They go from I have nothing to I have this great solution that is us, whereby. Will they switch to us? No, of course not, because Zoom works for them and they prefer that. And then we have this case that we never thought about, we never considered. That is actually the one that could switch to us. All the obvious cases, nothing. You have to end up pushing a lot just to get something. Here, the most unexpected case works like a charm. So to understand like how the pieces connect. Okay, no need to switch. Why? If you remember in the mapping that we did, we have these three columns. Current solution, is there an inability, and that's the default solve the inability. If the current solution works, there is no inability, nothing. So okay, defined by this. Switching. The current solution doesn't work, but we'll try default. That is, current solution doesn't work, there is an inability, but default works. New. No solution, but also default. No current solution, I have an inability because something changed, but default is going to work. And finally, desperate. No default is working, none of the list. So now we have a jackpot here. Everything is red, now we are talking. And that's how we distinguish ones from the others. Even if they look really similar, look at the examples, like it was like the same company today, but they had like different journeys, except the therapist. But now you're looking at this, and you are just hearing in your head your VCs telling you, yeah, that market is too small, like that's never gonna work. Now we have an example, so let's make this thing more specific. First, remember that everyone here could use your product. The fact that they don't want to do that now, it doesn't mean that they can't. They do. So, it's about where do we start and where do we end. We try to go for everyone at once, and that doesn't work, and you waste a lot of time and money pushing and going nowhere. Instead, you find the ones that have no alternative, like the therapists that can only grow online. They're stuck. The private practice in person is not getting traction. I need to grow a little bit because I lost customers in the past. I need online. If your product works here, we talk about the next step is becoming the default, right? But if this starts to work, what happens is that you start building a reputation that if you need to go online, several therapists are using this, the ones that need to grow, and they are growing. So if you can help them with that, these therapists at the same time, most of them end up training other therapists. So they will start recommending to the new, to the ones that are studying now that will start the private practice, hey, look, the tool that now the ones that are growing, you earn that reputation, are using is Whereby. And this will start like accumulating. And eventually there are people out there that the context will change and they went from everything is working for me to stop working for me. I need online and I need to grow. And when they look at what the ones that are growing are doing, they are using Whereby. So now you start getting these ones too. But see how it's not about features, it's about how is it perceived, it's about your reputation, it's about the trust. It's about starting on one place and following a path. What about like these guys will never switch? We said some will switch due to fear of missing out. And this is when we become an identity default. So the idea here is once you are a default and you have trust, there are social groups out there. People that identify with something. Here, the social group, the identity group is I'm a professional therapist. So I do what professional therapists do. And if it turns out that all the therapists that now are growing, that now are professional, use Whereby, and I'm still using Zoom, now that creates a conflict. And I will switch not because I need it. I don't need to grow. I don't need better I don't need more pastel or better links, or I don't need any of that. I need to keep feeling that I'm a professional therapist and everyone is moving on and I'm not. So they will start switching. And now we got the market. What started looking small is not small anymore. And all of that with the same features. Features that for these people on day one, it looked like nice to have. But we found the ones that really value that. Oh, we can find these people first and then build what they need. But it's only for them. And to understand that and to be able to map that, we have the customer instance map. That is this tool that we check today, where we have time in the equation, where we see how task, context, and solution changes over time and the implications that that has. These changes is what creates the inability. Now, the inability combined with the solutions out there create the different CIs. So, let's see the implications of doing it right. First, we were talking about we build against Zoom, they don't like it, but we try to solve their blockers, and that doesn't seem to work. Now we know that if we were getting this reply, it's because we were talking with OK, that ended up not getting back to us and not switching to anything, and switching, that didn't get back to us because they switched to Zoom. So instead of pushing and trying to build more things, and then try to do promotions and discounts and timed offers and whatever we can imagine just to see if we can convince them, persuade them to try, forget about them. Turn them off. And look for the ones that are desperate. But because they are desperate, that doesn't mean they're going to switch to you. There are other non-defaults, remember. So there are the defaults and the non-defaults. All the startups trying the same thing. We are one of them. But so there can be blockers too. And these therapists that we analyzed today came from private practice on the therapy room. She never used this before, and some of her users probably, like the patients, didn't do that too. So she needs things like, yeah, can I get some training videos for me and for them and make things as easy as possible? So they have blockers too. But now we're solving the blockers for the right people. Now we have like something that they will consider at 10x, even if for the rest it looks like nice to have. Now they will switch. So what I said before, this process of blocker and solution is great. But for whom? For the desperate CI. Because if we do blocker solution for these people, we will get, let me get back to you. So that's for product. And for marketing, now you don't have to waste all this money and all this time just like chasing people that don't care about you and getting your like 1% conversion rate. And all of that while we skip the 3 pitfalls. We are not confusing here cool and switch. We are just looking at inability, solves the inability. Doesn't matter how cool the feature is. Does it solve the inability for a desperate CI? Good, go. We are not building for everyone, hoping for them to come. We know that we are only solving the blockers for the ones that are ready for us. And we are doing that, not prioritizing blockers, but prioritizing customer instances. We start here, then we look at the blockers, instead of we start here and then we end up in a bad place. This process of finding who are the desperate CIs and then targeting them and only them with the message for them, because now we know who they are. And then understanding if there are some other blockers remaining and solving that so the product is perfect for them, that is the process of pull by design. And that is how you get to product market fit. Thank you very much. Good. Challenge. Last week, we talked about these similar cases mapped in a simple way. We are going to do the same in the more sophisticated way, more detailed way, because now that is going to allow us to see with more clarity like what it was right in the previous exercise and what is wrong. We will do an OK, a switching, and a despate CI. All the instructions, all the templates, everything, put.tips/day2 challenge. Everything is there. Remember, it's a Google Doc, so top menu, file, make a copy, and now you can edit.